Welcome to the Health Coach Nation podcast. My name is Hailey Rowe, and I'm a sales and marketing coach and LinkedIn lead generation service provider. I work with health, life, and mindset coaches and online service-based business owners to help them get more sales, shift their time to the client-generating activities instead of just the busy work, and overcome that social media overwhelm. Let's get into the show. If you're ready to take on your next paying clients, I have good news. My free 4 Basics of Client Attraction and How to Stand Out class is live at haileyrowe.com/client-attraction. In the class, you're going to learn the top 2 traits I recommend for most coaches and entrepreneurs if they really want to turn this into a career. You're going to learn how you can build demand for your services and stop getting crickets on your posts. You're going to learn the sales roadmap I used to improve my sales conversion rate and help my clients do the same. And you're going to learn so much more. So go to haileyrowe.com/client-attraction and get your copy of the class today. Hey, if you're trying to get your first clients, I want to let you know there's some key components you got to have to do that. But there's also a lot of stuff you do not need to get your first clients that a lot of you are putting your time and attention into that you don't need to be doing. And so we're going to be talking about that today because I talk to so many coaches who say, I've set up, all these fancy active campaign accounts and email funnels and all this stuff before they've ever seen anything really working. And they end up buying softwares and gadgets and tools and things they don't need yet before they've gotten their first clients. So if you are here and you are a beginner, comment below, I'm a beginner. If you are a seasoned entrepreneur, comment below seasoned entrepreneur, because I'd love to know who's watching and I'll make more videos based on what you guys want to see and how far along you are in your business. But the first thing I want to say is when it comes to starting your coaching business, you have to first be clear on a couple things. So first, I'm just going to share the key components of a business, and then I'm going to share specifically what you need initially. So the key components of a business are how are you bringing in leads? So we call that lead generation. The second part of your business is how are you taking those leads to knowing, liking, and trusting you and wanting to reach out and work with you? So how are you building demand and how are you nurturing? And then the third phase is that sales conversion process. So taking discovery calls or having a sales page if it's a course, and having a webinar that leads to that sales page or whatever it is that you do to start the sales process. And then the other parts of your business include actually delivering and taking care of your clients. So that's the delivery side. That's what most of you as coaches feel confident in because you've either gotten your certification or you know how to coach really well, but you don't have the clients to coach. So that's what we're going to be talking about today. And then the last part is keeping your clients, client retention and scaling your business. That's kind of like the aftermath of all of this. So really where most people get stuck is those first 2 phases. And a lot of you say, oh, well, once I get those sales calls, I'm like, it's amazing. They love me. We end up working together. And some of you guys say, oh, I just haven't even had any sales calls, so I don't even know if they would convert. But there's probably tweaks you could make on your sales calls too that would increase your conversion rate, even if you think everybody who books one with you signs up, but you just maybe haven't gotten to that phase yet. So we'll take it one thing at a time. But the thing I want to say about this is looking at the first 2 things, aka lead generation and lead nurturing, you have to first know what kind of leads are you trying to get. And most people, when they're picking a niche, they're afraid to narrow it down and they don't know what criteria to think about. So when you're picking a niche for creating a custom offer for in the beginning of your business to get your first clients, you want to make sure they have purchasing power. You want to make sure they have a big need or dream that they would pay to solve. You want to make sure that it's a growing niche and not just like something that's going to fizzle out, and not like a trending topic that you teach that's going to fizzle out as well. And you want to make sure that they're findable, easily findable online or locally or whichever route you pick, you're going to be able to target them. So if I say, and then the last piece would be that they, oh no, I already said that, they have a big enough pain point to solve. So if I pick teenagers as my niche, notice how it doesn't meet all the criteria, because purchasing power would be really tough for teenagers, right? So I might consider making it easier on myself and picking a niche that has purchasing power, but also has a need. So you want to ask yourself first, does my niche meet those criteria? And if it doesn't, you want to relook at that. But you do want to have something in mind so that your brain can get to work on, now, where can I find these people? And it gives your brain focus to get yourself your first clients. So if you're like, okay, I'm going to target, for me, I work with coaches and consultants. So LinkedIn is a great platform actually for me, because a lot of coaches have their titles listed as a coach in their profile, and very findable. I know where they hang out. I know what podcasts they listen to. I know what Facebook groups they're in. I know what hashtags they're probably using. I know who they're following. And so it makes it easier for me to be in front of them and be a guest on those podcasts that I know they listen to, or show up in their newsfeed if we're engaging together on Instagram or whatever. So that's key. And the second thing you need for that, and this is where a lot of people don't take it far enough, is a really compelling offer for that niche that you've picked. And you don't need a fancy landing page yet. You don't need a fancy website yet, but you do have to have an offer that's like, why should I listen and work with you, as opposed to the million other people out there doing the same thing, right? So this is where you don't say you just do coaching. You say you help them go from a certain point A to point B that solves a problem that they have, that's going to always be a problem that will go on, and that's big enough that people would pay to solve it. And that is what you want to be communicating. So if you haven't been bold enough in announcing the problems that you can help someone solve, or the dream outcomes you can help them achieve, and you've been too focused on just saying coaching or health coaching or helping you with your mindset coaching, that's very broad and kind of like, well, whatever you want, then I would suggest actually getting a little deeper and getting a little more research about what people really would pay to solve right now in their life, and focusing on that in your messaging, and making sure you can create a system or coaching skills and tools that deliver that. And if you don't have that in place, or you would need to go create something, or you need to get practice, you can always have a test group or a beta group that you still charge for and still get your first clients, but you are going to be giving your all. You are going to work with them until they hit the goal. You can have something like that to help you have a really amazing offer you feel good about, and the amazing clear offer of what you are actually helping them with. So don't skimp on that part. Many people just skip to like, okay, I want to coach, and it's going to be 12 sessions, and that's what I want to do. And they miss out on really getting clear about how are you preventing certain pains for your audience? How are you, making it easier for your niche? All of that stuff. So that's really important. Now, the next thing is to ask yourself, how are you going to deliver the information about that? How are you going to be talking in a position to be making offers and talking about that offer that you just made? So this is the part where people get all over the place, meaning they buy Facebook ads, and then they pay for this really fancy funnel, and then they set up this really fancy website. And this is where you can go in all sorts of different directions. But my point to you today is, if you want to get your first clients, here's what you need: the compelling offer, the clear niche of who it's for and who it's not for, a list of the benefits of your program, some testimonials, either from past clients you've worked with, practice clients, test clients, however you need to get those. And you need to set it up in you need to have it listed somewhere in a Google Doc or something, maybe FAQs overcoming certain objections people would have to your program. So you do want to have like a Google Doc for right now. You don't need a fancy website yet, just a Google Doc. And you would also want to, or need, a way to be connecting with your ideal clients, seeing what they need, offering to help them, and offering a free consult or call with you, which would be usually, for most people starting out, they either do local marketing or online social media marketing, and start building relationships and building their network. So they either start going to networking groups, they start sending connection requests out on LinkedIn with their ideal clients, or people they want to be referral partners with, or places want to offer to do a free talk, or something like that. So this is the thing you need to decide is, first of all, who do I already know that I could offer a free mini session to, or see if they have referrals or something along those lines. And a great book for this, by the way, is The Prosperous Coach. Great book about how you don't need all the fancy marketing things. Eventually, you might want them because it will save you time. It will give you freedom. It will nurture people more than you having to always be doing it yourself. But initially, The Prosperous Coach is great. And then also my 4 Basics of Client Attraction training will probably help you with this greatly. So I will put the link to that in the comments after this. But the point is, you need to decide what's your route going to be. First, maybe you do ask for referrals around town and people you know, and you say it in a nice way and you provide something as a gratitude for if you're getting these referrals or something like that. That's one way. The other way is pitching yourself for things. And this is not a natural skill for many people because they don't know how to market themselves. They don't know how to do it in a way that's not too salesy. And so this is where I come in and I help them with their copywriting and how do you build and nurture relationships and make it not weird and all that kind of stuff. But you do got to get used to talking about and making offers, whether it's a free talk you're asking to give, whether it's a free lead magnet you've created that you're trying to send traffic to, whether it's a free call you're trying to promote at the time on your social media and stuff. This is a skill you got to learn. And there's a way to do it in a way that doesn't feel weird. Why most people feel weird is because they're doing it out of place, or they're doing it because they're doing it because like having not given free value up front yet. And so it feels a little weird. And so I say to that, you got to be so good people can't ignore you, meaning you have to start producing value in your content with individuals, seeing how you can help people, asking the good questions so that you can provide value first, so that it feels more natural to continue to build a relationship and eventually pitch whatever it is you do, but in a permission-based way. Because naturally, people will start to ask you once you've given great value up front. So that's really important. So anyways, we're not going to be able to get into the whole process and how to word it and all that kind of stuff in just one video today on LinkedIn. But what I can tell you is I want you to pick 1 or 2 things to start with, meaning I am just going to send traffic right now to my free lead magnet, my free blah, blah, blah worksheet. And I don't even need a fancy email CRM system to start. I could set up a MailChimp account, or I could set up a Google Doc and literally just take people's emails down for now because I'm new and I'm trying to get my first clients, and then set it up in an email CRM system. But for now, I'm going to manually send it. I'm going to manually send them a worksheet or whatever my freebie is, and just be talking about that in my content and getting people to that. Or you might say your method of choice is to go to some local networking groups a certain amount of times a week, or your goal is to pitch yourself for 5 opportunities a week, either for podcasts or for a guest speaking opportunity or something like that. So pick 1 to 2 things you're going to really go all in on, and then start to pay attention to the feedback you're getting and start to realize why people are saying no or why people are saying yes, and what's causing them to answer and what's causing them to not answer. And you got to be willing to kind of give that a test phase if you're doing this by yourself and trying to figure it out. So let's recap. You need a niche or a niche, however you say it. You need a really compelling offer that's more than just saying coaching or tools that you teach, like meditation, or you help with mental health or whatever. You got to go deeper, a little bit deeper than that. You need to decide what are your top 2 marketing methods right now to be pitching yourself and making building relationships where you actually have opportunities to pitch yourself, where it naturally starts to come up. And then you need to be listening to the feedback and refining those systems as you're getting the feedback. Now, the other thing you want to think about, and I'm just going to share, and you need your Google Doc, most likely, of a summary of what you do, kind of like your own version of a website before you have a website that is, communicating the benefits of what you do and that kind of thing. For your sake, if you're new and you're still trying to get your copy figured out, it's for yourself to get clear on that. And B, if somebody asks, you can send them a little more information or something like that. So the other things, so you don't need a fancy website. Let's just recap. You do not need Facebook ads. You do not need fancy CRM systems like ActiveCampaign, Kajabi to host your course, all that stuff in the beginning of your business. I started with MailChimp for a free account first, and then I graduated to Kartra. But that was after a while. That was after getting well over 1,000 email subscribers. And then you do not need to have like something hosting your website, or something to make landing pages yet. You just don't need those. Use Google Docs for now. So if you have any questions, put them in the comments. But that's a quick recap of where do you start. And specifically, if you want some action steps, you can check out the 4 basics of client attraction training I'll put in the comments and go from there. I'll talk to you guys soon. Thanks so much for listening to this podcast. And if it's really helpful for you, I'd really appreciate if you share it and or leave a written podcast review. This tells the podcast sites that our show is useful and it will be promoted to more people that way. Thanks again.